With the commish, Nate.
All right, welcome in everybody to Press Pass Live, your weekly OMFL podcast show, the world's oldest and longest online CFM. Started in 2001 as a PC league, still going strong today with a bunch of crazy guys who are enjoying what we do here. So we are in season 116, and we're going to start unpacking it and reviewing it. And to do that, I got two buddies with me here tonight, so let's bring them in here. We got Mr. Trey of who? Of the Chargers?
Chargers.
Golly, man, you're too much. My little brain can't handle it. And they got Mr. Big Hurt of the Minnesota Vikings. Fellas, how we doing tonight?
Would be better if the Packers hadn't beat the Lions senseless.
Hold on, Hurt. We don't hear you. Why do we not hear you?
I think he went mute.
Something happened here, Mr. Hurt. I think you left right as the show was starting, so I got to re-add you real quick. So you guys don't see Hurt, but Trey and I see Hurt, and I'm going to get him added back here because I thought right as I was starting, he deuced out of here, and I need to re-add him in here. Maybe that's why I can't actually hear him. I don't know.
I can't hear him in general.
Well, there you go. So it's not just me.
Still silent.
Oh, he's giving us the finger again. Every Sunday, I get the finger he left again. Gosh darn, that means I'm going to have to re-add him another time. Well, we'll give him just a second to get back in here, and then we're going to start unpacking some of these games. And, man, we got a lot of games to cover. We're already here. I think we're in the last game, or the last game just wrapped up for week number 3, so we're going to be into week number 4 here pretty soon.
Just in the fourth quarter.
Okay. Is that the game where we had our fancy little FPR break?
Yep.
All right, there you go. Read those rules, guys. It doesn't matter how small, how clear, how light I make them. We still, some reason, can't make that happen. Mr. Hurd, are you back with us?
I am. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yes.
We do hear you. I got to get you added back here again. So let me get you back in here really fast.
Win over the Falcons.
There we go. All right. Now we are all here together once again. So we're going to do it again. What's up, Mr. Randy? How you doing tonight? Fellas, let's cover some of these games. I'm going to go through them really quick if I can with my old eyes. Week number 1, we had the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas lost that one 33-16. Is that right? That's not right. No, Dallas won. I don't know why they show scores like that. That's weird. Now I understand. See, this is what happens as you get old. This is what all you youngins get to look forward to. You can't see small things at night anymore. Anyway, Dallas won 33-16. That one was pretty close in the first half, but Dallas ran away with that one late as that game kept going.
Wait, what? What week are we talking about here?
What week? I'm in week 1. Is this not
Week
right?
1. Week 1, Dallas won 20-17 over Philadelphia.
Why are we all getting different stuff here? Am I in the wrong? I'm in the wrong CFM. This is what happens when you have multiple. Why would it load that CFM? It loaded our test CFM. I was very, very confused for a second. I was like, there's no, like, all due respect to Twinkie, he ain't beating Dwayne 33-18 or whatever I said that score was. Boy, this show's off to a smashing start here with Big Hurt leaving me twice, and now me in the wrong CFM, wrong scores. Let's try this again. Dallas, Philadelphia, 20-17. Dwayne wins that one. Mr. Trey here wins 14-10 against Luca. We got Denbrew with a 27-20 victory over Little Koch. We got Penguins with a 23-14 victory over Bill and his New York Giants. We got Kobe, who's been flexing since moving back over to his Jets. He won 41-21 over Logan, who's been on a tear ever since then. We got the Vegas Raiders and J Bows with a 38-37 victory over Lost Sniper. We got Cincy Berg, who's in a game right now, Mr. Birdman, 20-10 over Kevin. We got Miami and Massimo with a 17-10 victory over Mr. Randy. I always pause because I never know what to call him, but it's Randy. We got Bird with a 31-28 victory over Nicesonger. Maniac with a 20-17 victory over the Saints. I ain't talked to him since. We got Mr. Black Cats, a.k.a. Byron, 31-14 over Jay Glaze. We got Meek with a 14-3 victory over Crazy. We got D-Money with a 29-12 victory over Roger. And then wrapping up the last three, we got Tim, 35-3 over Priest. Mr. Nipples with a 24-17. That was actually Sim because they tried to play a couple different times. But anyway, you get the point. Nipples ended up winning that one. And then finally, the one I know Big Hurt really wants to talk about, Mr. Colin with a 40-37 victory over Big Hurt. Fellas, that's a look at week 1. Trey, which one do we start with? What do you want to talk about?
My big one is two guys that are commonly known for being around the playoffs, but not really shining, putting on a shootout of a game. That is Mr. J Balls and the Raiders and Mr. Boss and the Patriots. It's, quite apparent that Ian Peters is going to be a problem this year. 388 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. But also Drake May putting on an incredible performance to compete with him with 393 yards and 2 touchdowns. Austin Genty, not as dominant as I was expecting being in J Bull's roster. 10 carries for 50 yards, no touchdowns. Getting outshined by rookie Travion Henderson from the Ohio State University. 8 carries for 83 yards and a touchdown. Point blank, it showed that these two have the potential to be two of the higher powered offenses inside the AFC and maybe if not the OMFL in general.
Import Richards had 225 yards receiving in that game. Like, just absolutely craziness. But that was an absolutely great game. A 1-point victory for the Raiders. Lost Sniper not having any luck, it feels like, in the start of season 116. Big Hurt, what's the one game you want to talk about?
There's a handful of games I think we could bring up. The one that I'm going to zero in on is two teams that I think we're going to talk about a lot this cycle, and that's going to be Logan with the Steelers and Kobe and the Jets. This game seemed to be kind of a tale of two powerhouses, but Kobe shows his dominance here with over 400 yards of offense and comes up with a big win by 20 points. And really kind of turned it on in the second half and held Logan all to one touchdown in the third quarter. But I think what surprises me the most about this is Mabry, the running back, comes over from the import, and he's averaging almost 17 and a half yards per carry with 175 yards on 10 carries. I think him, Breece Hall, Fields, Braylon Allen, that's a very, very dynamic backfield. And if Kobe gets that running game going and can utilize guys like Garrett Wilson, the tight end from LSU, Mason Taylor, and then figures out how to get some of these other guys involved like Lazard and Gibson, this could be one of our scarier offenses just because I think Kobe can manage. And giving him a dual threat quarterback, if he, like I said, is able to manage the accuracy with Fields, that's a scary tandem there, or combination with the running game that he's got in the backfield. So very impressed. Like I said, I think we're going to talk about both of these teams, though, throughout the season and cycle because I think both of these teams are going to be present in the AFC.
Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, key factor in here, though, is Marbury. Not only was he the leading rusher of the game, was also the leading receiver of the game. So you got to know Kobe's looking for him either in the run or in the pass.
What up, Birdman? I sent you a little G chat. Y'all can go figure that out and let me know. But anyway, before we move on to week 2, what makes week 1 as an owner for each of you as a coach? What makes week 1 so difficult? I find it really tough, even though we have the preseason, which I do enjoy. And I wish guys enjoyed it more so we could play more because I need a game or two just to figure out who do I want to put on the field. And call me crazy, but with or without overall stats, I feel like sometimes you'll find just a guy who just plays beyond his stats. Like every Madden cycle, I find one or two guys that I don't even care, look at their attributes. These guys make plays when they're on the field, a receiver, a linebacker, a DB, whatever. And you can't find that out unless you play the preseason. Anyway, there's my rant about the preseason over. But I find it really difficult to you got to find that rhythm in real time. And these games really count outside of week 1. So what do you guys find difficult about week 1?
I think for me, the biggest thing is managing the wear and tear, managing the combination of having certain guys in certain positions. I know certain guys like to run jet sweeps or the little bubble screen RPO plays with certain receivers in that spot. And so when you start running a full game with your starting guys, you're trying to figure out that rhythm. Whereas in the preseason, you kind of just roll with it, see what everybody's got. Week 1, you're trying to kind of find your footing, your grounding, and establish the run game or establish that pass game. I feel like everybody wants to get off on the right foot. So you're kind of more playoff mode, maybe a little more hesitant in the passing game. And I think other guys might come in and just be like, it's week 1, who cares? Let's air it out. So I feel like you never really know what to expect. Once you start getting some stats on how guys play or some footage when you start watching games, then you can kind of be like, okay, this guy's probably going to try and attack me like this or whatever. But I think week 1 is just the biggest challenge for me. I did play preseason, but I was still trying, and I'm still trying to figure out Madden 26. I don't understand it. I'll tell you right now, I'm on my third quarterback, and my starting quarterback right now is Max Brosmer, who's a 60 overall, and against Dunbury earlier today, I finally benched Geno Smith, who I started because JJ wasn't getting it done week 1 or 2, I benched and started Geno. That went south quick, so I was like, screw it, put him in Brosmer, see what we got. And the dude went 9 for 11 for like 160 yards and was throwing dots, and he's a 60-year overall. Like, mind blown. Don't understand it, can't explain it. I have nothing, so that's my take.
Yeah, for me, it's just I'm taking over a team that I've never actually played with before. I'm taking over a Chargers roster that they went and got some pieces this offseason, and it's a new environment. I'm used to the high pace, fast speed that I had with Detroit, where I had Jameson Williams, I had Jamar Gibbs, I had all those guys where if you weren't paying attention, you were getting beat over the top. I'm playing with a team that has really no burners on it, so it's a little different.
Yeah, that doesn't fit your style either. Well, let's look at week number 2. We got Washington, they 32-21 victory over Green Bay. Denver with a 41-27 victory over Nicesanger. Detroit and Chicago played in a great game. Colin comes away with a 13-11 victory over Tim. 11's always a weird score to see. We got D-Money and the Rams 42-27 over Byron. We got the Giants and Beal with a 31-26 victory over Dwayne. I think it was his rookie quarterback took off on a run, ended up getting the game winner late in that game. Nipples with a 31-24 victory over Little Koch. My Saints with a 19-7 victory over Crazy. Kobe and his Jets stay red hot, 13-3 over Joker. Another really close game for Lost Sniper, 36-32 over Massimo. Logan 38, Meek 7. That one absolutely shocked me. And then Meek took it out on me today. Bird 24-19 over Maniac. The Colts and Randy bounced back 31-24 over Jay Glaze. Twinkie, the guy that we always say is much better than his record, he comes away with a 28-21 victory over Luca. The Cincy Berg and the Atlanta Falcons 25-22 over Big Hurt in the Buddy Bowl. Roger 27-20 over Kevin. And then finally wrapping up week number 2 before I turn it over to Big Hurt, 24-17. Mr. J Bowles gets a victory over Trey. This is the one he said he didn't play so well. So Big Hurt, which game you want to talk about here in week number 2?
The game, like I don't know if anybody got to watch it. I did not, but I got to see the final play. The Bears-Lions game was a crazy ending. But the game that I'm going to zero in on is the Giants and the Cowboys, just because it's interesting to see early in the cycle. I still feel like Dwayne is just Dwayne. And this game, I have struggled, and I feel like the running game's a little more consistent. The passing game isn't as consistent, especially with I'll call it the whiplash animation. Whereas Dallas has a pretty good running game, but it's even more OP because Dwayne brings over the stud running back from Madden 25 and brought over Faber, their quarterback. So Chance McMullen is a guy that I anticipate to have a great year. And then you give Dwayne, George Pickens, and CeeDee Lamb. Usually he doesn't have like another guy besides Lamb. So I figured Dwayne was going to have a pretty good year 1. Bill with the Giants, I don't want to say shocks me, but kind of impressed me with this game because not the final outcome, but it was the actual play of Jackson Dart. Dart goes 18 of 25, 2 touchdowns, no picks for 270 yards, very efficient against a very good defense, but also had that big 34-yard touchdown run. So I just think that's something that you don't see a lot against a defense led by Dwayne. And Bill kind of matches the intensity and comes out the big divisional win. And also kind of sets the tone for Madden 26, letting them know that Bill's here and Bill's ready. So I'm excited to see what that division, how that shakes up, and the future battles of the Giants and Cowboys come out. But yeah, Bill played a great game, looks like, and this one was good.
I take my talents here to I bring it to where we're looking at Logan again, and I take him over Meek. I think this is a tale of two tales. It's telling how Logan is going to be able to compete this year, but I think it also tells the tale of Meek. He's missing something there in Seattle this year. He's struggling out early, and that's not something we've known from Meek. It's usually playoff time Meek struggles. Now we're getting regular season Meek struggles. Um, you know, 38-7 victory for Logan. Didn't do too great passing wise. Only had 193 yards and a touchdown. But you pretty much put a dominant run game together with Caleb Johnson, 13 carries for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Warren, 9 carries for 97 yards and a touchdown. And Kenneth Gainwell, 6 carries for 34 yards and a touchdown. If we're going to see this coming out of Logan, it's going to be very interesting because if you can get a dominant run game inside of what I've just experienced in Madden 26, you're going to be a problem because it's really hard to run the ball this year. So the fact that Logan was able to pick Mika Park in the run game shows signs that Logan might have just had a bad day when it came to playing against Kobe and the Jets.
Let's move on to week number 3, our last one that we just finished a couple of minutes ago. I'm sure there are already games underway. We got Massimo and the Dolphins with a 23-17 victory over Joker, who, if I'm doing my math right, I think is winless. So Joker not off to the start that he was hoping for. The Bengals and Denver with a 28-17 victory over Big Hurt, who talked about that game just a little bit with his 60 overall quarterback. D-Money with a 34-10 victory over Twinkie. Little Koch, 26. Mr. Priest, 16. Penguins. That Commanders thing is just stuck in my head. I don't know who's over there right now. 31-29 over Jay Bowles, who is just having a really good season. He's fighting everybody to the very end. Kobe with a 45-28 victory over Kevin. Logan flexing on Lost Sniper, 41-15, a game that just ended a few minutes ago. Bird with a 24-10 victory over Cincyberg. Randy with a 31-14 victory over Byron, who started out red hot, but sort of has hit a little bit of a skid here. I think he said he was on vacation, so maybe that's kind of hard to come right home from vacation and load up and try to play a game. Mr. Joker with a 17-15 victory over Nicesonger. Dwayne bounces back 34-28 over Colin. Meek with a 30-20 victory over my Saints. One game that I think did get played, right? Broncos Chargers is a sim?
Yep.
Yep. And hopefully one of the board members, I don't know if any
victory.
board members are even listening right now, but if you can, go ahead and get this thing advanced. Then we got Maniac with a 35-21 victory over Crazy. We got Beal with his second week win in a row here, 17-10 over Luca. And then wrapping up week number 3, Nipples with a 31-23 victory over Tim. Tim struggling right here out of the box. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Out of the box, out of the season, out of whatever, out of his mind of season 116. Mr. Trey, what game you want to talk about here in week number 3?
I'm gonna go throw it to the Raiders and the Commanders because that's 2-point game against 2 top talents. You got to take a look into it. You have Ian Peters, who's off to a fantastic start this year, 298 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But I've taken the aspect of this. Jaden Daniels got locked down, 185 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. That's abysmal coming into a passing offense. But the key here is Deebo Samuel shockingly moved to running back at the start of the year. Proves to be effective. 9 carries, 133 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Penland's got something going on there in the Commanders' offense because it's working. You get 4 touchdowns from a running back, add the field goal to win the game. That's pretty impressive. Also, Austin Genty should be talked about in this situation. Not the running yards you would expect, 13 carries for 55 yards, but also getting 3 touchdowns himself. Pretty impressive performance for a rookie.
I thought really that he was going to just blow it away with that guy. I just felt like that running back fit his style, and he'll find his traction sooner or later, but that's a slower start for Genty than I expected in the hands of Jay Glaze. Mr. Big Hurt, what game you want to talk about here in week number 3? You're muted,
Hurt
Bubba.
your mute.
You're muted. You pressed the button.
My bad. I'm gonna go to another divisional game. I'm gonna go up into the AFC East, and we're gonna go to Miami and Buffalo. I've always kind of thought Massimo was a guy that he made that run one year, got in as a 7 seed, went to the OMFL Bowl, and then when he gets his offense going and he feels good about it, he's tough, especially in the pass game. And then Joker, like coming in this year, like his imports with Josh Allen, I was like, holy smokes, this guy's gonna have a like field day throwing to like all the guys he's got. So, but like you said, I mean, Joker's struggling out of the gate, but I'll tell you who's not struggling out of the gate is Massimo with Jimmy Blanco, and he had a very efficient game, 277 yards, 3 touchdowns against the Bills defense and Joker. But Allen also had a pretty solid day, just had the 1 interception, but he threw for 348 yards. And the running game obviously wasn't quite there for either team, but receiving, Gary Tyson, the import, was one of the guys I figured would have a pretty big year for Joker. And then Massimo's Tyreek Hill goes off for 116 and a touchdown. So it's kind of the battle of the air raids there. But Massimo pulls it out, gets a big win, and I think he's off to a 2-1 start. And then the Bills are off to an 0-3 start. And I would have never guessed that. So, again, another division battle. I think we talked about this early on. You know, like Maniac going to the NFC West and then like Joker going there, like seeing all these different new bloods and division rivalries. And, you know, you kind of have in your mind what you think is going to happen. And so far, there's been a few things that have been shockers. And, again, that's just the parody for the OMFL. It's fun to see, and that was another good one. I will say to the 4 touchdowns on the ground, week 1, Jaden Blue, I traded for him. I had 4 touchdowns, and then my game dropped. I know I was pretty sad about that because that would have been nice XP. But, yeah, that's a pretty good stat line for Debo there, and a lot of good games. Season's flying by, though.
The season is absolutely flying by. Give me some quick hits. Early surprises. Just a quick hitter. Early surprise in season 116.
For me, my struggles. Like, I thought I was going to be good with my Vikings. I felt confident. And I feel completely lost. I can't throw the ball. Like I said, I'm on my 3rd quarterback. I'm starting a 60 overall, and that's the most confident I've been. And that just, to me, makes no sense. I feel like this game plays well at times, and then I feel like other times I'm just like, how is that guy overthrowing the ball, or how's that guy dropping that? Where's my coverage at in a cover 2? They're playing like cover 4. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I'm very lost and very confused at times, and I'm just hoping I can figure things out and get the ship headed the right way. So I'm going to probably be making some splash moves. I opened up the door for some guys today, and dropping a bombshell here, but Dylan Marshall's on the move.
Wow. Well, there you have it. I've got some minor bombshells of my own, but they're not Dylan Marshall. Trey, some quick hitters, surprises.
I expected when I got the Chargers roster that I was going to have a very dominant run game to set up my pass. Not so much the case. I'm just can't seem to figure out how this run system works. I kind of have a little bit of insight now, but it's pushing borderline OMFL rules for me to do it, and I'm just not going to break FPR just to get a run game going.
Yeah, it's my surprise has been my pass rush. Just none. I had pass rush the whole preseason, the whole build up to, but I've got absolute 0 pass rush. And there's pressure. We're getting pressure on both sides, but I have a feeling we're going to be tweaking that pass slider down the 2 back to the default 50. I'm just not seeing a lot of sacks. And And I know some games do have a lot of sacks. We just looked at one, I think, right before we wrapped up here, and there was like a game with like 5 sacks in it or whatever. So it's just look, the last couple of Mads have been that, right? Just not super consistent. He's sort of a little all over the place. That's sort of what we get when we go sim mode. Well, it's time to turn the corner here, fellas, and do something fun and do something that we've been needing to do for some time, and that is reveal the OMFL Hall of Fame class for Madden 25. And so I'm going to go ahead and get us started doing that. And the first one right here is going to be up here, and we're going to talk about each of these as we go along. But Mr. Warren Barnes, linebacker for the Carolina Panthers, 8 seasons. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time OMFL champion, 837 tackles, 114 tackles for loss, 35 sacks, 46 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, and 7 touchdowns. This guy was a playmaker everywhere you put him. He was shooting the gap. He'd get you in coverage. He'd take your tight end on a post out and pick it off. This guy was an absolute terror there for Bird in Carolina and was a leading force to getting him his 2 back-to-back championships as we wrapped up Madden 25. And this guy was a unanimous selection in the OMFL Hall of Fame process this past year. Guys, what do you know? What do you think about Warren Barnes getting into the Hall of Fame for Madden 25?
Well deserved. This guy was a menace to play. He, I think, was one of the better coverage linebackers in the hands of Bird. That's scary because of the secondary that he had on top of it. But the guy was so athletic that if you tried to run the ball, like he shot gaps, shot the edge, and just shut the run game down too. So definitely, I mean, with Bird's success, you have to have guys like that. And this is one of the guys that definitely helped him lead to 2 OMFL Bowls, and again, well deserved.
Yeah, I didn't get to play much against it, but from just the statistical lines, that's impressive. You can't have an OMFL Hall of Fame career without those kind of stats. And to top it off, getting 2 OMFL Bowls to end it all, it's pretty dang impressive and well deserved.
Absolutely. Well, up next is going to be your guy, Trey, Mr. Bruce Ross of the Detroit Lions. Drafted by Mr. Trey, handed off to Tim, 8 seasons, 6-time Pro Bowler, and OMFL champion under Trey. 846 tackles, 125 tackles for loss, 29 sacks, 31 interceptions, 9 forced fumbles, and 3 touchdowns. Bruce Ross was a unanimous decision here in the OMFL for Madden 25, and this guy was a terror from day one. I think he was a 3rd-round pick, if I have that right. If not, Trey would have corrected me, so I'm glad that I guessed and got that one right. But this guy was a terror from the get-go. As a rookie, he was a part of that amazing draft class that Trey put together that went on to win a championship and just was like in the NFC Championship every single year. This guy was just one of those key humans. This is a player that you build the Hall of Fame for. Like I don't want to forget about Bruce Ross's impact on this league, this community, and this is why we created the Hall of Fame. What do you think about Bruce Ross? I'm making Trey hold his thoughts since he drafted the guy. Big Hurt.
Well, with no disrespect, I think Bruce Ross is much deserved, and I think he definitely belongs in the OMFL Hall of Fame. But I think he was a Hall of Famer without a doubt in Trey's hands, but in Tim's hands could be a little questionable. I just think Trey has a different pedigree when he has a player like Ross in his hands and the leadership and just putting him in the right places at the right times. Also with his user skill, that's a guy that's kind of like reminds me a little bit of the old school Jaguars linebacker. I can't think of his name, but just a guy that like he's in the middle of the field. Ray Lewis, I'm avoiding the middle of the field. You just know where those guys are at all times, especially when someone who has the user stick skills. You don't want to test them. You don't want to go across the middle, or you don't want to challenge them because 99% of the time they're going to win that battle, and it's not going to be good for you. So I didn't really have that worry as much when I was playing Tim. So I think it's
Get you too, huh?
yeah, so not that he wasn't a good player, but I just don't see Tim as much of as an elite like user stick guy on the defensive side.
Trey, talk about your boy.
I have this primarily because of Bruce Ross. That man, he was third round pick. I drafted a corner who I'm hoping we get to talk about later. But Bruce was my third round pick that draft, and those two played well together. And having the user ability, it was incredible what the things I could do with him. I didn't get checked out how Tim used him, but I know just in my hands, he was a menace. I could put him in cover 2 and cover 15 yards deep if I needed to, even more. I could put him in a blitz and he'd get through and put pressure on the quarterback. I could put him man on man against a tight end. In a rare situation, he would cover that. In a game where, it's hard to cover a tight end in man coverage, even with a cornerback, let alone a linebacker. So I was very happy to hear that he is going into the OMFL Hall of Fame alongside his compatriot, hopefully.
How many players from that championship team will be in the Hall of Fame, depending on who's in this one?
That would be probably 2.
That's it? The quarterback didn't make it because I don't think he got submitted, right?
Tim told me he was submitting.
Maybe he did. Maybe he just didn't have enough seasons. Yeah, that was a really, really great team. Let's go to the next one. You already kind of laid it out there. Deontay Scott, number 24 for the Detroit Lions. My goodness, it got stuck in my mouth right there. Wouldn't come out. Not a unanimous decision, but he did make it in 9 seasons. 5-time Pro Bowler. 617 tackles. Really impressive for a DB. 11 tackles for loss. 45 interceptions, which make what Barnes and some of these other linebackers did really impressive. 107 deflections, 2 forced fumbles, and 5 touchdowns. Deontay Scott was able to make it. Trey, I'm going to let you start with this guy. You've already tried to touch on it a little bit. What made this guy so special?
Man, when I was needing cornerback help and the dearest that man came to the rescue, he was able to essentially lock down anyone's number 1 receiver, especially when I'm dealing with guys like Justin Jefferson. I believe Christian Watson had gotten up there at the time where he was a dominant force. I had DJ Moore that was a dominant force that I was constantly dealing with. The fact that I could go man coverage and say, yep, they're gone. They're out of the game. It made life easier, especially when I'm using Bruce Ross. I took your tight end out. I took your number 1 wide receiver out. And you had to try and deal with the pass rush that was Aiden Hutchinson and crew. So to have him as a security blanket to eliminate somebody's number 1 receiver made it fantastic. Another key reason for that OMFL Season 108 championship that I hold right here in my hand.
Mr. Hurt?
Yeah, I think guys like this, definitely corners, when you can erase a receiver off the field. I mean, the interceptions are there, and I know you touched on it, like making the linebackers. I still just think interceptions become a number that good linebackers are going to get more of, just because the way we play the game on a video game level. Guys like to run the drags, the crossing over the middle routes. So you're going to see those linebackers challenged more. If you've got a good user, the linebackers are going to be able to sit there and pick those off. Or a guy that's got high awareness or speed and play rec is going to be in the right place at the right time. So for me, I think it's just more vital to see the interception numbers from a linebacker standpoint. It's kind of expected. But a guy like Trey said, when you can play man coverage and erase a guy off the map, or play cover 3, cover 2, and play zone, and you throw it over into that zone, it's immediately like disaster for you. This guy belongs here.
Coming up next, we got Mr. Brandon DeMarco of the Houston Texans. Roger gets him one in there as a unanimous decision. 10 seasons, 9 Pro Bowls, 792 receptions, 186 touchdowns, 19,925 yards. He was a 3-time AFC Offensive Player of the Year, a single game and single season record holder here in the OMFL. Boy, when we hear the name, we know exactly what kind of player this guy was. He was one of those impact players that game in, game out, regardless of Rodgers' record, you knew this guy was probably going to get his 6 to 10 receptions, his 90 to 120 yards, and his at least 1 to 2 touchdowns. DeMarco was an absolute playmaker. Big Hurt, what do you think about DeMarco making it into the Hall of Fame?
As I've said before, this is another one that belongs here. Any success that Roger did have was because of this guy. Rodgers' game plan was to take deep shots, stretch the field vertically, and this guy was that. And when Roger got this guy built up and became a problem, everybody else kind of filled in. The offense was built around him, and Rodgers' success, again, defined kind of or fell into with how DeMarco and how everything else fell into suit. So when you're on the defensive side and you line up and you see DeMarco, you know that you've got to cover that 30 yards downfield, but he could run a drag route. There was the route tree was endless for him, but he was just a burner. He caused problems. And so ironically, like, he's not the biggest build or anything like that, but he did his thing. And Roger played well with this guy. I kind of wish Roger could have had more success with this guy, and he kind of found some stability in the last couple seasons or so in Madden 25. But I think if this guy still had maybe a couple more years under his belt, I think Roger really could have some success. And this place was better. I mean, Maniac always talked about it. I think the OMFL was a better place when Rodgers healthy and around. He's just a good dude, and so I was happy that he is here and made the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of playing DeMarco quite a few times over the cycles that he was around. He was a problem. Like, I would double team him, and I would have my guys backed off, and he'd still find a way to beat him. He was that kind of a player. He was a game changer on the offense. And it really fit for what Roger was needing at the time. He would have a good run game, but he just couldn't get the pass game going. And once he got to Marco, it flipped because you couldn't just clue into his pass game and shut it down. Because DeMarco would break, a 50-yarder, a 60-yarder on you, and you wouldn't even be able to go, well, where was my corner? Because your corner would be 20 yards behind him. He definitely is 100% deserving of being in the OMFL Hall of Fame. And it's one of those guys that if you draft him, you're going to use him. And it fit for what Roger was trying to do, and it made Roger more competitive than he was at normally a start of a cycle by when he brought DeMarco with him, because he gave him that deep threat right off the get-go. And, as Kurt said, when Roger's around and he's healthy and he's able to be involved, the OMFL is always better. He's one of those great human beings that you hope to pull through with his health concerns and hope that he's able to fully connect into a cycle.
We've had Hall of Fame seasons where literally one guy, Trey's guy, got in. And now this one, we've got a whole bunch. This is a big class. So coming up next is going to be Bobby Freeman of the Tennessee Titans. He played here 9 seasons, which is crazy to think about, but he was here 9 seasons. He was an OMFL champion in the second season of Madden 25, 492 receptions, 95 touchdowns, 9,783 yards, which feels low after you see DeMarco, but this guy still made an impact. He was not a unanimous Hall of Fame submission, but when you compared his numbers, and there's probably another guy on this list that I'll talk about that's about the same as Freeman, he was sort of a Hall of Famer in a lot of our eyes, a guy that made impact every time he's on the field. And when you paired him up with his running mate, I can't remember the guy's name. He was a tall white boy. That's all I remember. These two were just a terror for Kobe in that season that he won the championship. Bobby Freeman, he makes it into the OMFL Hall of Fame. Trey, what do you think?
It's a fitting candidate. When you're getting at least 1,000 yards a season, you're putting up at least 10 touchdowns. That's incredible. Surprising that it's not unanimous, but I can also understand it given the receivers are kind of a hard route to go through to get to the OMFL Hall of Fame because quite literally people will kind of abuse the receivers. So for Kobe to go get this guy in, it's quite impressive. I think I didn't get to play much against it. I may have gotten one game, but I know Kobe and his offense, and you're giving him a guy that can go do that, that's going to open up Kobe's offense immensely.
Big Hurt, Freeman, a Hall of Famer to you?
Yeah, I think he belongs in the. Well, I'll say this: I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame just because of how he was. But like Trey said, the receiver position's a hard group to kind of evaluate here, just because they're like, from a statistical standpoint, you put him in, you could probably throw a lot of guys in there, and I think his numbers, because of Kobe's ability to. One, the OMFL Bowl run that he had, Tony Pollard was a monster. And then he had Bobby Freeman. He had the other guy that you talked about. Plus his defense was so stout. So like a lot of the numbers probably weren't even there for him or an opportunity for him just because like whereas Roger was just throwing it basically primarily to DeMarco. So those numbers were fed. But I do think that Freeman is a guy that belongs here. He dominated, and you throw it up the ball on a deep one-on-one, and it's pretty much a guaranteed catch. And again, it stretched the field, and I think obviously a deep ball guy like that helps the run game. And when you had Tony Pollard and Mabry in the hands of Kobe, like this guy is what helped his run game be so strong.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, coming up next, it's going to be my guy, Mr. Oliver Howe with the New Orleans Saints. Also, not a unanimous decision, and one of those just tough kind of conversations because he just didn't play that many seasons here. 6 seasons, 2-time Pro Bowler, 435 receptions, 77 touchdowns, 8,429 yards. I know for me, he was an absolute, he wasn't Forbes. Forbes was like super platinum, but he was like one small step below Forbes. Forbes always had a quarterback who's also, I think Forbes was the first receiver to get into the Hall of Fame. Poor Oliver didn't have a quarterback for a long time. And then finally, when we got Anthony built up, him and Hal started to click. And when they started to click, Hal just, he made the game so much easier. Like I could just run a go route, and if you just stutter stepped a little bit, Hal was getting behind you. He was big, he was tall, he was physical. I could run a slant, he'd catch it, break a tackle, and go. He blocked really, really well. I think he was an underrated blocker on my team, but I could run it to the outside, and Hal was going to be there making plays. Like I had full plans on bringing this guy over with me until I reviewed that, like, and remembered that I don't have a quarterback again. So this guy's going to be 29. We bring him over. Like, how many more seasons do I have in him before he starts regressing? Because I ain't got a quarterback. So I decided to go ahead and retire him. The guys felt like he was just barely able to get into the Hall of Fame, but barely or unanimous. The Gold Jackets look absolutely the same. Big Hurt, I think you played Hal a time or two. What do you think about Hal making it to the Hall of Fame?
This is one of those guys where I like chalk it up. Statistically, may not be there. Seasons may not be there. But I'll tell you one thing. When I was the Falcons or even, the Vikings and stuff, and I ran into Hal, that dude was a monster. I hated playing him. I just like you said, you were you throw him on a go route or a post route, and if there was one guy, it was like balls in the air, and then he's winning it every time. 6'5", just physical, comes down the catch, breaks it, you know. And it's like, so you have to keep the safety over the top. And that, again, just allowed for Shaheed or somebody on the other side to open up. This guy obviously made everybody else in the offense better.
No, mute it, Trey.
I got
Oh,
to
you're
play
back.
Hal. I got to play Hal one time. I played that game. I got out of that game. I immediately knew I was checked out of Madden 25 because I could not do anything to stop him. You know, statistically the numbers ain't there, but he it's not a matter of the statistics is the reason he's going into the Hall of Fame. It's how much he was important to the Saints offense. I know, like he was just a menace. You could not stop him. It was almost like he was rewatching Calvin Johnson highlights from what I saw. Um, he was that much of a game changer. So yes, the statistics aren't there, but the impact that he had on the Saints offense is the sole reason that he deserves to be in the OMFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and one of those 6, he was hurt for like 75% of the season. So it is what it is, but it's good to see that Hal is going to be remembered in the Hall. And then I think this is going to be our last one. We may have one more. I think this might be our last one, but Mr. Maniac got Adrian Shepard. He was a Falcon and a Buffalo Bill, so we tried to honor that with these 2 photos that you see here. 11 seasons, 824 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 79 interceptions, 83 deflections, 15 touchdowns, and 1 punt return touchdown. He was a unanimous selection into the Hall of Fame. I got my little bit of a taste of him when he was there in Atlanta, and then thankfully he followed Maniac over to the AFC, and this guy is an absolute stud of a player that I'm sure a lot of people are glad they don't have to watch play there in Arizona. Trey, what do you think about Adrian Shepard making it to the Hall of Fame?
Anytime you see a defender with 16 total touchdowns, I think that's just a foregone conclusion that they're an OMFL Hall of Famer because that's points that you shouldn't be getting, but you're getting because he's that talented. Add the deflections, add the 79 interceptions, which I think in NFL history is like the NFL record. That's foregone conclusion. No Hall of Fame right there. Never mind add the TFLs, add the tackles, add the fact that he played 11 seasons. It's a foregone conclusion. If anybody had a question if he's an OMFL Hall of Famer, you need to kindly remove yourself from whatever committee votes for that stuff because that's just absurd.
Big Hurt, did you ever run
This
across
guy,
Shepard?
I'm pretty sure this guy played on 3 cycles. I think this guy, yeah, I think it was 3 cycles because he got drafted in end of 23. He played all 24 and all 25. This guy was a problem. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. Like when he was in Buffalo, and he had him, I had. Well, I was the Falcons, and I ended up trading for the Vikings, like in the mid-cycle, when Neissanger wanted to go to Jacksonville and get rid of his favorite team, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll go. I'll trade and play the Vikings, a team that I was like interested in having Justin Jefferson." I remember going into that game, and I was like, "Justin Jefferson, my dude's like that's Jay Jettas. I'm good." Bro, I can't even begin to tell you the frustration I had. I threw the ball and it was like pick, pick, pick. Like 77 picks, I probably had 15 of them in that one game, it felt like. So, yeah, I think he legit had 3 picks in that game against me. And I was trying to get the ball to Justin Jefferson, and it seemed like he was open. And, you know, Justin Jefferson's like separation and route running. He like was there. And then all of a sudden I throw the ball and it's like, Shepard's a step or 2 behind, and he was so fast and so lengthy that he would just like undercut it, pick it off, and I was like, "Where did the dude come from?" Like it was just, yeah. This dude was, again, probably the same thing as Hal, one of the most frustrating players I've played. But obviously on the other side of the ball, and I avoided that side of the field when I came out and saw Shepard was on the right or the left. I'm like, yep, not going over there.
Shepard was an absolute impact player, and playing that many cycles, that many seasons, just shows how big of an impact he was. I think that is it. Yep, brings us back to Barnes, and that is going to do it. OMFL Hall of Fame class as a whole, one of the bigger classes that we've ever had. As we open up the OMFL mailbag, guys, any final thoughts on the class of Madden 25?
I think it's a very well-rounded class. I think it's a class that has a lot of talent in it. Very well spoken for guys that had players. The one thing I like about the group of players that we put in there, it wasn't just the top of the line, cream of the crop players that won the OMFL Bowl games, because like DeMarco or Hal obviously never got there. You guys had success with those guys, but Bird has had a success at the end of it when he had his entire secondary was 90 plus, and then he had Barnes and he had Derek Brown, and the whole defense felt like they were 95, but overall. But at the same time, like when you look at that, through the ups and downs, even when your team struggled, they like Hal was effective. Or when DeMarco with Roger, when he was struggling, DeMarco was effective. You look at the Shepard, Maniac got to the OMFL Bowl with him, and then after that, he had a season or two that he struggled, but Shepard was still effective. These guys just stand out, and they were difference player makers on the field.
Most definitely, when I had my mental stuff that I had to check out, and I was really sad losing the team that I had built. So it was exciting to see that two of the stars that were still able to make it across the Madden 25 and make it into the OMFL Hall of Fame. And it's also, I think, the first time in a long time, I don't think we had a quarterback involved in the Hall of
You're
Fame,
right.
which is
We did have a submission, but he did not get enough votes.
Yeah, it's rare to see a quarterback not make it in, because usually when you're putting a quarterback up, he's got some stats on him.
Yeah, I think the quarterbacks that are in there are such a high caliber that you usually got to put in the seasons, right? Usually a guy's got to come over 2 cycles before he's ready to be voted in. Let's open up the OMFL mailbag, guys. We got 4 questions, and we're going to call it a night. It's been a good show. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. After 3 weeks, who is the biggest surprise team for you? And that's coming from our buddy Little Koch, and I think that's going to be wide open for me. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills in a negative. Joker is such a good player, but he is a team builder, and maybe just hasn't had time to build that team to fit him, even though they're very, very good. And I think on the other end of the spectrum, man, there's so many different teams that we could talk about. But I think some of the bigger surprises are going to be what Penguins is doing. I mean, not Penguins, sorry. Logan is doing with the Steelers. Like, that's a weird roster, but he's put it all together, and he's playing really, really dominant with that big win over the Seahawks. What about you guys? Who's been some surprise teams for you?
For me, I'm going to go with, I'll give 1 negative, 1 positive. My positive is Kobe with the Jets right out of the gate. I feel like the Jets are a solid team, have a lot of solid pieces, but I just don't know that the Jets are quite built for domination right out of the box. They have a good secondary. They've got good pieces, but again, Justin Fields is not I just feel like a championship caliber quarterback. And he's playing very well and very efficient. He's got the running game. But again, Garrett Wilson's a good receiver, but he doesn't have a Hal. He doesn't have a Bobby Freeman. He doesn't have, a DeMarco or somebody that can just, put fear in defense. So I feel like I'm shocked by the Jets a little bit. Not that Kobe can't go on runs, but then I think the biggest negative would either be I'm going to go with either I'll go with Joker or myself. I really didn't think either one of us would be 0-3. I lost my safety for the entire season, my import safety week 1 for I think 26 weeks or something like that. And then just the play of my quarterback, the like struggles that I've had. I have zero answers on how to like what is going on. Stuff doesn't make sense, like what's happening. Week 1, I played Colin, and I literally kid you not, like he would just throw the ball up, double coverage, and my corners would just sit there and like look at the receiver, catch the ball, and then like not even like go to tackle, and he would just like spin around and take it for like 30 yards for a touchdown. And then the game dropped, and I was like, oh, well, sucks because Jaden Blue had 4 touchdowns. But I was like, well, maybe this game didn't play like, and it was just like an EA thing. Like maybe we're gonna get a reset and have a better game. Even though I hate when that stuff happens. We played game 2, and it was like the exact same thing. Like he just threw all over me with Luther Burden, DJ Moore, Roma Dunes. Like I couldn't even cover. I couldn't keep up with them. And I've got like 90+ speed corners. Like it made no sense. Couldn't get any pass rush. Go to week 2, and then it was like the complete opposite. I literally had a blocked punt for a touchdown. I had like a pick 6 for a touchdown against Cincy. And like we were talking, and I was like, it doesn't make sense. Nothing's making sense to me. I can't cover. I can't pass. I literally throw a hitch route. The ball goes 10 feet over my receiver's head, and I'm not even pushing the left stick. So then I was like, okay, it's JJ McCarthy. I put Geno Smith in week 3, and I play Denver. And like it was his D line, his corners were like just like lockdown defense, blowing my interior lineup. I couldn't run the ball, couldn't pass the ball, and all of a sudden I put Brosmer in, and I had damn near 200 yards passing in the second half with Brosmer, a 60 overall quarterback. Just I don't even know how to explain it. But then I look at Joker, and like he brings in Tyson, he brings in these guys with Josh Allen, and I was like, he'll definitely be a playoff team, and to see him at 0-3 just blows my mind.
For me, my positive is going to go to Bill. I'm quite surprised that when I know the Giants team was ravished, and the fact that he took a win out of D Wayne's book and giving him an advantage in the division, but the fact that he's 2-1 with that team, I have to play him this week, and I'm not looking forward to it. But yeah, just he's putting together the scraps and making it work. It's also I have to give the credit to Jay Ballas, because he's doing the same thing with the Raiders. You don't have much there, but you're making it work and you're winning games. The fact that they're both sitting at 2-1 is quite impressive. My negative surprise that I didn't expect to be happening goes to Kevin. When I started to figure out that it was a passing game, I was like, oh great, Kevin's going to be dominant again. And the fact that I'm seeing him at 0-3 is shocking to me. I know last cycle it didn't work with him. He couldn't figure things out. But he talked about it in his media call. The game felt to him like he could throw with anticipation, and here we are sitting in week 4. He's 0-3. So the game switched from the pre-testing stuff that we've done to now? I don't have the answers to those questions, but it just shocks me to see that Kevin's at an 0-3 record going into week 4.
Don't look now, but the Rams are 3-0 and scoring the most points in the entire league. Oh my God! Why do we keep giving this guy a team that he can? I guess it doesn't matter what team we give him. He's just going to be really, really good. Little Koch with another fun question. This probably won't take too long, but which NFL teams fans annoy you the most? I have 2 that come to mind, and one's fairly fresh and new for me, but the Bronco fans, they just get under my skin with the handies that they give Coach Pay. I just can't. I don't know why they've become so annoying to me, but they do. And Falcons fans, we just all hate each other. And so anytime a Falcons fan opened his mouth, I want to vomit on myself. What NFL fans annoy you guys?
Eagles.
I got 2. FTC and FTP. If you can figure it out, you got it settled.
Oh, I'm not even playing that game. My brain's too old for that. Nicehanger, what team or teams do you think will make the most moves? That's an interesting question. This is a weird match. I got to be honest. I'll go on a very quick rant, but I did not want to open up trades. I think somebody's going to take advantage of somebody else. I hate not having some kind of guide. The guide that we did find is not very good. It just is what it is because I know everyone's itching to trade. It's a massive piece in a CFM, and so if you don't have it, it just feels like something's missing. So I had to open it up, but man, we need that stupid companion app so much. Who's going to make the most trades? I don't know. I think Joker's going to make a ton. I think he's itching to make a bunch of trades. Everybody else kind of runs hot and cold. Like Trey, I would say probably will make a couple of deals. Big Hurt's already mentioned a couple of deals. I don't know. What do you guys think? Who's going to make the most moves out there?
I'm gonna say the man who posted the question, Nicehanger. I just think with the Jags, he's looking to build a team. He's excited about building. He's got a lot of young pieces. He's got a lot of opportunity. I'll be honest. We've had several conversations about trades. I announced to a few people that were interested, and I knew would be interested. Dylan Marshall is going to hit the block, and he and I have talked a little bit, and he asked me multiple times like who I was trading. Obviously, the Vikings being his favorite team, and next thing you know, he's asked about a couple of guys. I don't know if it's just me or if he's reached out to other people like that, but I just feel like he's looking to make moves. I would say the other person would be, depending on what happens, I'm going to say D-Money, just because that guy always seems to make moves and get picks and build just a deep draft time and time again. So I think those would be my two right now. I think things can pan out and probably change the direction of people's thought process. Like I said, throughout the show, did I see myself being 0-3? I felt confident coming into Madden 26 that I was pretty set with my team. Spearman goes down. Some things have changed. I'm 0-3. Don't feel comfortable with certain things. And I'm like, do I hit the panic button or do I sit and let it be? So yeah, I'm for 1,000% like kind of sitting here wondering what my direction of Madden 26 is going to be. I think I'm confident in team building and my skills there, so we'll see what happens. But for the sake of the question, I'll go with D-Money or Nicehanger.
All right, so I'm just gonna say this now. On my side, or on this little viewing screen, it's that way, to that way. But on the YouTube screen, the guy right down there, yeah, that guy's gonna make the trades, because that guy's gonna hit that panic button that he just talked about.
Yes, I tend to agree. Matter of fact, if you go back and watch the screen, I took out my little teleprompter, I circled Big Hurt, I wrote an arrow, and I wrote this guy right below him. So I, too, agree with what you're saying. And Nicehanger, he just loves to trade, and he's been working the phones. I got a deal with him that I was going to send him 2 guys here tonight. We got to get things posted. Nicehanger, if you're here, go ahead and get that thing posted for us. We'll get that thing reviewed. And Joker, I don't think is here, but we'll get that one posted as well. All right, last question, and I'll pull up the Madden stats for this one. Yeah, I think I went to the right screen. Mr. Dimper says, we have nearly finished 3 weeks. How do you feel about the sack, TFL, interception, rushing? My God. How do you feel about the stats, I think is what he's trying to ask here. I just realized he listed just about every stat that you could list. Yeah, how do you feel about the stats in general? I feel like the game is, I kind of have a little bit of a love-hate. There's two things I might tweak. I don't know. I want to give it a little bit more time before I make any decisions. But what are you guys thinking? What are you thinking about the stats? I'm going to pull these up as we're talking.
For me, I think passing's not bad from a statistical standpoint. I'm jealous that I see Drake May and Ian Peters and Bewanko, and obviously just got done playing Joe Burrow, and I've already gone against Caleb Williams, so I'm wondering why I'm seeing two of the top 5 quarterbacks in the OMFL right now that I've already played. So I played lost in the preseason with Drake May and like whoever else he had. But honestly, I think the passing's there. I think the rushing, just the game is different in its learning curve. I don't mind.
Okay, pause real quick. I can't handle this guy's face. I wish I didn't see his face right now. What's going on over here, Trey?
I just saw the freaking Vikings Jaguars trade.
Oh my gosh, that could have waited. That big old jaw drop. We'll come back to that. Big Hurt, finish your thought.
So I think that's there. The receivers aren't like, you're not having super crazy. The sacks, you're not like seeing crazy numbers. But the guys that are there, I feel like should be at the top. Van Ness, Hutchinson, Bonito. Again, I said earlier, I think I like the game. I think it's in a good place. But there's just like the animation, the whiplash animation, like the understanding of why my quarterback throws a hitch route on the dot. And then like two plays later, I throw like a slant and he like air mills it. Like I don't know. So I'm confused. I'm lost. But at the same time, I think that there's something, if it's a progressional thing, if it's a trait thing or what it is. But I think we're not far. But yeah.
I'm quite shocked at how bad the run game stats are. That's about honestly it. I just, in terms of TFLs and stuff, we're getting that, but in counter aspect, we're not really getting many rushing yards outside of a few guys that have just found a couple plays that seem to work, I guess, maybe, because I know I'm figured Jim Harbaugh has built a running offense. He should have some running offensive linemen. I'm getting tackled almost instantly as soon as I hand the ball off. It's kind of shocking.
Yeah, the averages look good. I mean, as good as they sort of normally look. But you're right. The attempts aren't really there for the yards, like outside of Derrick Henry's already got 50 attempts. But it's going to be interesting to see, like, do we make some small tweaks on both passing and running a little bit? The sack numbers are pretty low, I think, overall. I like the interception numbers where they are. I think both quarterback interceptions and DB interceptions, those feel right. Tackles for loss feel right. Sack numbers maybe a little bit more juice. Running game maybe a little bit more juice. And quarterbacks, I think, are where they need to be, right? Like the quarterback averages, as we were looking here at just the top guys, right? We got 68, 65, 63, 71. Like these are good. These are equal. These feel right. Outside of Mr. Again, very quietly, D-Money is 13-1, 13 touchdowns, 1 interception at 65% with Stafford. I mean, he is having a really outstanding season. So there might come a little, like right now, I think pass blocks at 52. It might come back down to 50. Might go run block 52. But run block has this weird trigger. If you just go one too many, all of a sudden everything is blocked perfectly. Like it's either Trey blowed up in the backfield or everything's blocked perfectly. And I hate that. It's like there's no nice sort of middle ground of like we award stick skills in between the tackles. Like that seems to be a little bit less. So something we will definitely keep an eye on. But I think looking at those numbers, I think I am going to bring pass block back down, and I may even just a hair bring speed back to closer to default. It's at 55 right now, which means the ceiling and the floor are closer together. So like super fast guys and fast guys, there's not as much separation. So lowering that closer to default means that separation will get just a little bit bigger, which I think will help with the pass block. So I may keep pass block where it's at. And just kind of move the speed down a little bit and see how that feels, and then give run block just a little bit juice and see how that feels, and we'll see where that falls. All right, let's get it over to you. Want to go ahead and tell us what this deal was, Big Hurt, before we get to our question of the night?
Like I said, I kind of announced that I was trading Dylan Marshall. I've had a few people that I've been talking to before I made like a league-wide announcement. There's a few things that I was looking at, and the team that I'm currently in pending negotiations with offered me something that I felt like was a pretty good value. Was not what I was looking for, but I was like, I could go that route. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens, and I'll let Trey make the splash.
Sure, not what you're looking for, but, go find yourself a player that can play both sides of the football. Ay.
Good luck doing that, though. You know what I mean? Like, me and Nicehonger had that conversation. Good luck playing that guy on both sides of the ball, because with wear and tear, it's not going to happen, okay?
But see, if you're smart about it, play him as your slot corner, so he only plays in those slot packages, and then play him as your wide receiver, whatever.
I agree with you.
There you go.
That's what I told Nicehonger he should have done, and that's probably what Big Hurt will do. I don't know. Who knows what Big Hurt's going to do? What are you going to do with this guy?
But just that there's that. But then he's also giving up Trayvon Walker, which, what, why, how, where? That's just not even fair. And then on top of it all, he's giving up Travis Etienne. And all he's getting is, a solid corner. Cool. That's nice. You're getting a retirement-bound Harrison Smith and some random offensive lineman.
So I will say this, and I'm not trying to.
You may have just told the trade committee to deny it. I don't know. We'll see what those guys do.
And if they deny it, then they deny it. But I'll tell you, I've got 3 other teams in works right now, and I just got hit up with another one that I'm now going to be looking at rosters if that falls through. I'm not worried about moving Marshall. Bottom line is Harrison Smith is going to be value for one to 2 seasons because he's got a mentor tag. His strong safety, Ransaw from Tulane, has got like 95 speed. And then on top of it, Etienne is a budget cut, and I actually want Bigsby because Bigsby is more of a guy that I would rather have. But
he's trying to sell us on Harrison
basically
Smith.
a one-year player, and then he's hitting the free agency.
He's trying to sell us on Harrison Smith.
And I'll tell you, either one of those running backs, I didn't want either one of them because Jaden Blue is my starting running back.
All right, let's go to our question of the night. I am sending Mr. Taysom Hill and Ruiz over to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm also sending Demario Davis over to the Buffalo Bills. So good luck dealing with him. And Olave may be on the move. I don't know. We've got a couple of calls out, but he played really good last game. I don't know if I'm going to move him or not now. Question of the night that you guys can debate, and then we're going to give the minute to the mic that I think won the debate. Who is one potential? I'm going to say that another time because we never can just say one. Who is one potential Hall of Famer for class of 2006? Madden 26, I should say. Who is one potential Hall of Famer that's in the league right now?
I'll let
you just mouth fart my question? Come on, man.
I was trying to think. I'll let you go first, Trey.
I didn't even have knowledge of this question, but it's already popped in my head immediately. It's Gary Tyson. I mean, you're giving a speed receiver to a Joker with Josh Allen. all he has to do is get by the coverage, and Allen can hit him from the 1 yard line to the end zone. That's just how it's going to be able to work. So now he has that ability. I think Gary Tyson's going to be one of those guys that's instantly accepted into the OMFL Hall of Fame because those stats are going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the low-hanging fruit on this, and the same position. I'm going to go with Earl Lowry. I think Earl Lowry's absolutely ridiculous. And one thing that I will point out is this dude can fucking truck the shit out of people too. He caught the ball and ran over my linebacker. I was like, what? And he's like, I told Cincy, I said, how? And he's like, well, with all the incentives that Earl Lowry's won, he's like, I can only put XP in certain areas. So I added it to his trucking or whatever. And I'm like, okay, it makes sense. But turn him into Deebo Samuel. I don't know. The dude, yeah, crazy. But with Cincy just being a high efficiency passer, the guy's 25, had an unreal Madden 25 cycle, and he's only going to get better. I'm going to go with Lowry.
Good debate, good conversation, good show. But I'm going to go ahead and award it to my buddy Trey because he was here early. He was on point. He's got the stats up behind him. Now, you did turn away from the camera 9 times to talk, and I was like, come on, you got to look at the camera now. But, Mr. Trey, you got 1 minute.
I even tried to stay centered for you tonight.
You did? Hey, you know what? You did a really good job staying centered. You also left 3 times, and I had to re-add you back 3 times, so there was that. But you did stay centered.
My iPad lost connection.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it was the iPad's fault. Okay.
The iPad. That's right. If only
it could be the iPad, it could be the hotel Wi-Fi.
If Harrison Smith would have set up the iPad, it would have stayed running. Trey, you get 1 minute. Take it away.
It's great to have the OMFL back up and running. We're having fun. Get your games in if you can. Obviously, people have some situations where you just can't get the games in, but have some fun. Don't get too stressed out. We're not here to win competitive money like they do in the MCS. This is, us grown folks having some fun. Some of us get to play with our favorite teams. Some of us get to play with teams that they're not used to.
And some of us get to play with all the teams.
Hey, my mic, not yours, mine. But it's just time to have some fun. Don't take the game too seriously. And if you're taking the game too seriously, put it away. Grab yourself an 26 and come join the Grown Folk Club when we get it up and running so we can have some fun playing some hockey.
Yeah. Don't waste $35 like Nate did on a hockey game that got to play 4 times. So
you played more than 4 times. The game stated that you played 35 games. Good.
I did have fun, though. It reminded me of those old FIFA teams that we used to do. And holy goatee, Batman. I'm jealous of the goatee this guy can grow. This guy, that thing is thick and luscious. Look at that thing, man. Guys, thank you for a great night, a great show, and a great start to season 116. I'm going to go make some minor tweaks. I'm sure a game or two has played. So let's see if I can make the running game a little bit better. See if I can get the pass rush up a little bit better. And because Kevin's in my chat crying, and I've had board members yelling at me about it, I'm going to see if I can give it a little bit more time. But I'm pretty stubborn to this 12-second play clock because it keeps all of you who try to be sneaky and quickly make adjustments before they show up on the screen and anybody can see. I know who you are. You don't get it past me. I know your reputation precedes you. So when it's at 12 seconds, well, you just don't have time to do all of that stuff. You got to make your one adjustment and get up out of there. Big Hurt Trey, thank you for making time for me. I know this is a sacrifice, and I appreciate it a lot. Guys, enjoy your games. Enjoy your time out there. We'll be back with you again next Sunday, and it should be a really fun time. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. Know that you're loved. Christ loves you, and I'll see you on the next one.
Adios.
Smash that like and subscribe.